Welcome to my world, basically. Evening, everybody, thanks for coming in, and hope you're all safe and well. And you're all welcome to our interview that we've been trying to do for what best part of a year now with Andy Kirsty from. You need to tell us your group name because it's too long for me, Andy. I always forget it.
The easy way to say it is UKGWP, United Kingdom Ghost Whispers Paranormal.
That's it. But they're not in the Kingdom. They're over in America. We tried to get them on the past, I don't know many months, about a year, and the signal was rubbish in the UK. They went to America, and all of a sudden, the signal's great. So that tells me one thing. You should have buggered off a year ago.
If we could have got here a year ago, we would have got here a year ago.
Saved us wait.
Here was one of the longest things we've ever had to experience.
But, you left us about 2 months ago. We've also got Charlie and Rox from everybody's favourite show, the UK's. I'll start again. The Haunted Hunts UK. I was going to say Haunted Hunts, but it's the other way around, isn't it? We'll get it. Thanks for coming in, Charlie and Rox, as well. It's always great to have you on. So, Andy and Kirsty, we're going to start with you two.
Okay.
So the usual question, what happened? How did you get into paranormal?
So for me, it was mainly through Kirsty. But I've had two experiences, and they were both linked to my mum's and my dad's funerals. So back in 2010, when my mum passed away, we were in the crematorium, and I stood at the front reading a passage. I was reading a passage called All Is Well. And as you do when you're at a funeral, I started breaking down. And without a word of a lie, I felt a hand upon my shoulder. And what I felt on my shoulder was exactly how my mum would put a hand on my shoulder. And straight away, I felt comfortable and calm and was able to finish the passage. So that kind of got me believing that there was something, that we couldn't see or we couldn't experience in reality. Then obviously when I got with Kirsty's been into it big time for a long time, and she'll tell you her reasons shortly. But then at my dad's funeral, which was just a couple of years ago, same again. I was studying exactly the same crematorium where we cremated my mum. Stood at the front, reading out a passage, and I felt like a calm come over me. And at the time I felt a calm come over me, Kirsty and my dad's sister said they felt a breeze like brush past them, and it was almost like something had come past them and come to me and calm me down. So they're the kind of experiences that got me into the paranormal. But this is the main reason that I got involved.
That's a good talk about your life, isn't it? This is the reason.
Yeah.
How you'll be back in the UK.
But yeah, I mean, it's my mum. It's my mum's house. From being young, things have happened, little things. One of them, well, I'll go back. My sister, being young and naive, we are friends. She was in a room when a Ouija board was getting played. And I think I told you about it before, Scott. And she wasn't involved in it, but something went wrong with this Ouija board, and they had to get someone out to close it down properly because they didn't have a clue. Next thing after that, a few months down the line, things started happening with my sister and my mum's house, because the house was absolutely brilliant when we moved in it. And at this time I moved out, my sister moved into my bedroom, and things were fine when I had it, that room. As soon as my sister went into that room, the temperature started going cold. My mum were having to put heating on downstairs in a living room, even in summer. And then you came to the house, didn't you, one day, and my mum's downstairs door opened on its own, and Andy just looked as if to say, what the hell's just happened? And we told him, we said, oh, this happens all the time. But my mum's always been one of them people. She don't believe it unless she sees it. And one morning she was getting ready for work and she saw a shadow from top of the stairs walk past her bedroom door straight into the room that used to be mine. And she said it was just black as night. And this were in middle of the day in the morning. And she just saw it walk. And then another time, she was laid in bed and do you know the memory foam mattresses and you see it dip? She felt something and she thought it was my sister straightening her hair because my mum's got massive wardrobes with mirrors. So we used to go in my mum's bedroom to straighten her hair. And this one morning, she felt this dip. She jumped up to make my sister jump, but there was nothing there. And she still could see the dip. So then at this point, she started telling people like these stuff's going on in my house and I don't know why. And then I had a miscarriage and I stayed at my mum's. And one morning, about 2:30 in the morning, do you know like when you're half asleep and half awake? And it was like, I were off and off, but I saw someone stood in my sister's bedroom that used to be mine. And I thought, oh, it's my mum. So I just shut my eyes and went back to sleep. That morning, I says to my mum, did you come into the bedroom last night? She's like, no. She went, but I heard someone going downstairs. I says, what time was it? She went 2:30. And it confirmed. So she heard something going downstairs as I saw something in the bedroom. And then after that, she started smelling toast, like little things. It weren't like constant, like all the time these things were happening. It was like gradual. And then I used to ask her, like, what's happening? Anything happening? She's like, nope, nothing. It's all gone quiet. Keely's moved out of our house into her own. Everything's gone quiet. Just before we came out to America, my mum's partner, Kev, he's like, tell Kirsty what's happening. One night she woke Kev up because something was stood over her in bed. And she was wide awake and she's like, Kirsty, this black mass was just stood over me. And at that point, it absolutely scared her because it's never happened before. Unfortunately, because it's family, she won't let us go and actually try and investigate and see if we can figure out what's going on there. She's very, very house proud. So we thought of like maybe trying to get other teams to come in and investigate, but she's so house proud. She won't allow anyone in the house. We mentioned it to our friend Gavin, who's coming on our show in a couple of weeks. And his first reaction was get a priest in there straight away. So, because it's like my mum works at KP and she gets a lift home one night. Because my mum, she won't tell people because she thinks, oh, they think I'm weird, or they're gonna think, oh, she's seeing things. And one of her mates from work dropped her off, and he's like, Caroline, oh, is that in your window? And my mum's looking, she's like, no one. House were in pitch black. He's like, there's someone stood there in your little window. And it's like, mine and my sister's kids, when babies, there's one corner in my mum's living room, and they always stare there and start laughing. Like, and my mum's like, oh, look, they're laughing. They can see something. And every child's done it in my mum's. So I think for your question, Scott, the short answer is we both had experiences. That's the short answer. So we both experienced things that brought us to. I mean, we were just sat there one day, and as you do, we started watching shows on internet and on telly, etc. We're looking at it and we're like, we really, really love this sort of stuff. Let's give it a go and see if we can. See if we can do it. And that's that. Obviously, we were in lockdown as well, and we were getting bored. I'd just done a radio station on the camp I was living on, but it was a struggle to do that. Just playing music through like an online radio station. We stopped that, and I was getting a bit bored. So we set up the page with a view to. Originally, we set it up to share, just to research in and look at
paranormal hauntings and stuff like that, paranormal investigations, and just like give our take on it. And then we had a few options came up, and we went with them. So.
But that's what happens. I mean, we were, Sarah and I were the exact same last year. We started this off, I think it was just before, lockdown happened. And we thought it would last maybe a month, 2 months at the most, kind of thing. But then lockdown happened and we started interviewing people, and with quite a few opportunities came up. And we took them, and it's something you can't play. You don't know how it's going to turn out. You start it off, and I mean, we would use her now. All right, he's in America, but we're not talking about that. He's kind of abandoned the UK, but it's all right.
Like you said, it grows legs, because, like I say, Facebook's only one of the many platforms out there now. I mean, we have our group on about 5 or 6 different platforms now, and they're all doing fairly well. So it's just enjoyable. If I'm sat there, with 10 minutes and there's nothing on telly and I'm a bit bored, I'll jump on my laptop and go and try and dig into something and look at the history, or look at what happened, and see if we can put our spin on what happened. It fills time.
And it's addictive as well. What were you, Charlie and Rox? I know you just recently started your own group as well.
We started the own group thing was because a lot of people said to us that, like, they private message saying, "Are you leaving Haunteds?" And we're like, no, this is just something, because not a lot of people go on our personal Facebook unless it's something about, the haunted hunts or a paranormal or anything. So we thought we'll set this up, and then that's where our experience with the haunted hunts and what have you. But we also wanted to go out and do our own little thing as well, go to different places.
Haven't got investigations yet.
When we haven't got investigations on, or public investigations, or filming aside, we can go and have a look and do our own little thing as well, which would be good to give back to people that do follow us, so they get to see a little bit of extra and a little bit of us as well. Do you know what I mean?
It allows you to hone your skills as well, doesn't it? That you can take back to the haunted hunts as well.
You're always learning. This is the thing. You're always learning. But you look back at season 1, and honest to God, we're so scared in front of the camera, and you just don't know how to react. Whereas now, it's nice to go out and enjoy it. Yeah, enjoy it more.
Now.
You can see, I mean, I've followed you through season 1, as I've said quite a few times, and you can see how
it changes.
You change, you evolve, and you can see the difference between season 1 and season 4 there. It's going to sound, I'm trying to think how to word it without sounding disrespect. You're a mere professional on camera. Do you know what I mean? You're a mere...
Because it's a learning curve, because you I remember going back to season 1, every little noise that we made, we'd say on camera, "That was me, that was me." Sorry, and that's all you would hear was us going, "That was me, that was me, that was me." Do you know what I mean? And it's not. It's like sometimes, if it is something, like, when the editing's getting done, we'll put in there, this was like either outside or what have you. Do you know what I mean?
Sorry,
that was us. Do you know what I mean? But no, it is. You can see, I think, definitely as the years have gone on.
Question as well.
How we actually ask our questions when we're investigating, how we approach it. We've learned how to approach different hauntings and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? So you do learn it as you go along, but I think you do have to be in it to do it.
It threw me off. I didn't like the questioning because I didn't know what the hell we were doing. So it was like, I like to know where I'm going. I like to know what haunts there. I like to be prepared what thing goes on. I didn't like. You're not too bad because you're not really phased by anything. But I was like, oh shit.
See, like,
what's gonna happen?
We believe in the paranormal, but there's always that little bit of me that until I get dragged, like I always say to Dan, if something drags me down the hallway, I'll be like, "Dan, get the camera, mate. It's happening." Do you know what I mean? Or I get pinned up against the wall, and I know people say, "Charlie, that's fucking far-fetched," but you never know.
No.
You never know. So I'm always wanting that a little bit more, which frustrates myself, because it's like, fuck, I haven't had this. And we can have some great nights, but it's like, I just wanted that little bit. I always want that little bit extra.
I don't think that the paranormal enough is never enough. You
No.
know, you get that EVP, but you wanted a DVP. You get that image on camera, but you wanted it as a full-bodied apparition, not a half apparition. It's never enough what you get.
No.
And that's what I like about it. You know, you like Scott does, has been doing, is constantly going back to that same place and getting more and more and more.
And building on it.
Yeah, because if you stop after that one investigation, you know, who knows what you could have caught.
Exactly. That's why it's always good to go back in it. Like I found with like Penny Lan, we done Penny Lan. I put 2 videos up the other day on there. We actually went as a group, as just as friends. It wasn't a haunted hunt night enough. It was just as friends. We went, and I had that activity when we were on break. I went back into the house on my own while they were on break, and just called out to the children in the nursery area and then upstairs on the landing, and it was happening. It was on response, and it's like just one of those things. You just got to work with it and go with it. And then Gareth interrupted me because his mum's kitchen was on fire.
Oh no.
I made you tell me about. Did you say, Andy? And as you all say, if you get a place and you're getting activity, you're getting good activity, you do go back and you go back. And I think, in my opinion, that the spirits get to know you. They get to recognize you. You know, they say, all right, Charlie and Rox is back. We'll go and say hello, or whatever kind of thing.
It was great.
Obviously, going to the Greystone, with lockdown and Saturn and all that.
One of our first responses was Dan knelt down by her and she goes, back again.
Clear as day. I think we
Word.
got that on camera as well.
That's
He
ridiculous.
just bent down to her. She went, back again. So it's like she knew
It
he
was
was there
sarcastic.
straight away.
Oh, crazy. But when we're talking about going back to locations, we were a bit upset or a bit gutted when we were doing the Turk's Head, the pub that we did back in Ripon in Yorkshire. The day after we did the second investigation, it sold, and the week later it started turning it from a pub into a residential house. So we were starting to break ground with what we were capturing, and then we couldn't go back again.
Yeah.
So we've got all these questions in our head now, and it's devastating when you're breaking into you're getting something, but you can't go back and do any more with it.
It was good though, because the current owner, he was skeptic, and then when some things were happening, he were like, "Oh my god, did that just?" And we're like,
So
"You can see it with your own eyes."
We put it on our page. I took him down into the basement, and it was an old basement. It had a tunnel in the back that was bricked off, and apparently that went down to the canal where they used to bring goods and that into the pub. We went down into the basement, and the EMF started going crazy, and then it stopped. So I put on the Paratech app, and I asked, is there anybody here? What's your name? And straight away we got David came through, literally straight away in response to the question. And the first thing the owner said was, "Oh my God, David, am I okay being here? Am I okay owning this pub?" He went from a skeptic to a believer in like 2 seconds. And it's great to be able to do something like that.
It were the responses when we were asking, and like when you told it light up the EMF, and straight away it kept flashing and then went off when you told it to stop. It were good.
But yeah, it's a shame we couldn't go back
spiders.
there.
It's bad, isn't it?
Sorry, Charlie. Gail's got a good call. I'll just stick up with now. Gail's part of our team. I might excuse some investigation, want to leave Sarah, but next time I get back, I always feel the need to get back to find out what it was that made me feel so uneasy. So it's like, it's curiosity, it gets into your head, I think, and that I want to get back. I need to find, I need to kind of find that thing out. Sorry, Charlie, you going to say something there? And I cut in.
Just going back to Andy, like when you go back to places, that was kind of with Weir Mill, when we were doing in Manchester. It was something that we were getting the children upstairs.
We were getting so much,
and then all of a sudden they've sold it. And now it's going into like apartments. So it's like you can't go back there no more and continue with the investigation, which is sad.
It is, because you know that whatever you find is not going to move. It's still going to be there. You can't go into someone's house and
yeah.
I don't think anybody appreciated when I knocked on the door. Said, "Excuse me, love, this used to be a basement. Can I just come in and investigate?
So we had the owners. I mean, she was as soon as we put the second investigation live on our page, she instantly commented, oh, I've been here all day, every day. I've not found anything. Everything's calm. We don't feel anything here. I don't know where you got what you found from. Just trying to, I think she's trying to calm herself.
Yeah.
But we know what we got there, and we know what it was used for in the old day, and what potentially was there. And yeah, it was a shame. Obviously, we won't go back now for a few years, but it'd be nice to go back. So.
But I mean, that's the thing. You can go. I mean, the place where we're doing something, we're putting on Patreon, Caldwell. We went, and I've sent you stuff, Charlie. Recordings at Rocks as well. It seemed that every investigation we were getting more and more, but then there was the odd time where we'd go and we get nothing. Even, we could have been there the previous night and get, we get some DVPs, meters going off in it, and then we go the next day and it's totally flat. You think, well, why is it flat? Kind of thing. Every investigation is different results each time.
Yeah. I think that's the interesting thing about the paranormal as well. It's everybody expects it to happen all the time, and it does not work like that. Do you know? It's like we've had some points where people said, "Oh, you haven't had much there." That's the point. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes you get nothing. Other teams could go in and get it just like that, and bang, because they've been going there regular. We could go there for the first time, like, well, no, nothing happened. And then we could say, there's plenty of places out there that people have said that's hyped. And it's thingy, is it a big hype? And then another team could go there and go, well, I've had nothing, so there's nothing there. Do you know what I mean? It's people's different, how people get the activity and how they, I think, investigate. It can contribute to that, doesn't it?
Exactly. We done it with Caldwell. We took another team with us, and we said, we've got a lot of activity on the stairwell. And we said, we're going to get down to the basement, and we'll leave you to investigate the stairwell, and we'll see you. I think it was about an hour or so. I see in about an hour. So, after an hour, I went up the stairs and says to them, how'd you go on? Nothing. Our teddy bear moved slightly, and that was it. So we swapped round and said, well, you get down to the basement, and we'll stay here. And we started getting stuff right away.
Yeah.
They get nothing, and you can't. There's no explanation for. You can't explain. You can't say, well, it's because of this, because you just don't know.
No, you'll never know.
Yeah, and personally, I do believe that the energy of the person investigating can have an effect on what you're actually looking out for. So somebody can go in with no energy at all about them, and get nothing. And then somebody else walks in, exuding energy, and everything kicks off. It's just something I've always believed.
Well, yeah, we've done nights, haven't we, where people being dragged to an investigation. You can tell they don't want to be there. They don't want to call up. They're not interested. And you can't get people to enjoy it. You can't make somebody enjoy investigating. And then a week later, we'll go back and there'll be a group of people who are so enthusiastic, and we have the best night ever.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. If you get maybe a crowd of 7 or 8 people, and there's one little guy standing at the back, on his phone, something like that, it's just no interested at all. And there's, as you say, Rox, there's nothing you
can't make people enjoy it now.
You can't go up and slap them and say, right, smile.
But I don't think it'll go down to.
But Andy and Kirsty, you're in America, but your group is based in the UK, basically. How does that work? How do you manage to work it with being on the other side of the pod?
What we're doing at the moment, obviously, we kind of changed our stance a little bit. So we're calling this like the USA chapter. We're putting together like a chapter of our story being out here in the US. So we're still a UK team. We're still, we're going to be coming back to the UK. We're not going to be staying here permanently. Hopefully, I mean, what we've noticed out here, with all the Native American land, etc., the whole of America is just a hotbed. So we're hoping that some of the things that, when we finally get out on investigations, I can happily say my equipment turned up yesterday, so I'm happy with that. I've now got a camera and stuff, so we can actually, start going out and doing some bits and pieces now.
I'd love to do out there in America, mate. I would love to.
Yeah, it's the only thing, and I think Sophie mentioned it when she was chatting with you as well, Scott, and Jennifer mentioned it as well. The paranormal out in the US it's a business.
Mm-hmm.
You either have to, and this is what Jennifer said to me, and it's a true statement. You either have to pay handsomely or bribe someone to get into a location. We thought about doing like going to visit sort of graveyards or some abandoned buildings, etc. But unfortunately, the homeless situation, especially in California, is so bad. Graveyards, abandoned buildings, they're just full of homeless people. So it's not safe to just walk up to a building and say, right, I'm going to investigate this one. No. I'm going to walk in and see what I can find, because you're likely to find somebody taking shelter there. So we're looking at a few things at the moment with with like the Hollywood Forever graveyard. There's another community graveyard where Marilyn Monroe's buried. We're looking at a few of the I'm going to call them the safer places that are free to go and investigate. Mm-hmm. We're looking. We've dropped an email at the moment to. There's a house in a local town called Tehachapi, which is an old sort of Native American town. There's a house there called the Area House. We went to visit just as guests, and as you do, you pulled your little app out in your pocket just to see if you pick anything up. And we picked up a few little snippets while we were there. I mean, we were looking at a picture of a gentleman wearing American football gear, and through the Paratext, soccer came through. And when you think about it, for us, what they're playing as American football is soccer to us, or is football to us. There was just a few little links. There was a couple of dolls in there as well that really piqued my attention, and I really want to go and try and have a look at these dolls. There's a couple of pictures again on our Facebook of those dolls. So we're trying to do things, but we're having to try and do it in the public sort of space, if you know what I mean. It's difficult to do it in the, you've got just down the road from us, but you've got the Cecil Hotel and places like that. But the money it cost us to try and get in there and do an investigation for a team of 2 people is probably going to be too much. And it's with your job, there's places where you've been told you can't go in, because we'd love to see that hotel, but the area where it is and surrounding it, it's like a no-go. Skid Row.
Dangerous, isn't it?
Yeah. So what we're doing at the moment, like I say, we've only been here since August. We've only been in the house for a couple of months now. We're trying to put the base down, and we're trying to put together a US chapter. To answer your question, we're trying to put together a US chapter, is what we're trying to do. And we'll when we come back to the UK, we'll probably close off that chapter. Some of the things that we're trying to do, obviously, like you guys did, Charlie Rocks, we've done a lot up at Pendle. We've been to Pendle many a time.
Yeah.
So we're going to try and put to the other side to it. So we're planning a trip across to Salem to look at the American witch trials and see if we can put a link in between the two. Maybe the fact we were at Pendle and the Kings, etc. Maybe that, you never know, that might spark something off. We just don't know.
That'll be interesting to see, though, won't it?
Yeah, that's exactly what we're thinking. So we're definitely looking at going across to Salem. There's a couple of ships down in Detroit. So we've got the HMS. What's it called again? Is it the Mary? Is it
Queen Mary?
Queen Mary.
Yeah.
We've got, sorry, I've got loads of ships in my head.
Detroit's the other end. It's San Diego.
San Diego, not Detroit. So we've got the Queen Mary, which we're hoping to go down and have a look around and see what we can see if we can do anything there. So we're just trying to put things in place at the moment.
So I know you've only been there a couple of months. Have you noticed a difference between, just one thing you were saying about graveyards and stuff. We get that over here. I don't know if you get it doing your end, Charlie Knox. I know. I mean, we've done graveyards many times, but one time we went, it was dark, and I went for a walkabout, and it was an old tomb, and there was a sleeping bag and bits and pieces inside it. So somebody set up home in this old tomb. So I know you do it, and the necropolis in Glasgow is quite bad for homeless people and, you know, teenagers drinking and all that kind of stuff. What were you, Charlie? What have you encountered that doing your end?
We've had a couple of Denby where we pretended to be security guards, didn't we?
You've seen Dan with his vest, yeah? And that we were in Denby Asylum, and there was people there. So I said to Dan, I said, yeah, you got your vest on. So go tell your security, get off. And it worked. We went there. We went there. We said, right, with security, you're going to have to leave now. And they did. They got their stuff and went. So we had to leave over the boat.
You need to tell him that he needs to start using that vest if he's going to wear it. I can't remember seeing him ever take anything out of it.
But we were filming, weren't we, in Chester, and someone thought he had a gun.
The old king said he'd come around the corner and he had the camera in his hand, his vest on, and somebody screamed. And I went, somebody thinks he's about to, either shoot somebody or blow somebody up.
We've got the whole team on the 2nd of December. I'm going to ask him what he keeps in his vest to see what he says. Because as you say, Andy, you never see him pull anything out the vest. He's always just wearing it. You never see it getting used.
The thing is, what I've seen though is he wears that vest with about 50 different pockets in. And then when he pulls his phone out, he pulls it out of his trouser pocket. So it's like he carries everything in his trousers but wears his vest. Sorry, Dan, if you're watching.
I think it's a comfort thing, isn't it?
Yeah, I think he's so used to it now. Because we laugh with him. We do when he said we were in the old King's Den and he got it out and he put it on, and me and Emma and Roxanne looked at each other and we just started laughing.
The first time I told you.
Yeah, and I said next season, I said you do not wear that vest out.
I think it took 20 takes just to be able to say the first sentence because we were just pissing ourselves laughing.
Yeah.
I noticed Emma, I was watching you again last night, and I noticed Emma got a caterpillar cake, her birthday, when you were doing season 4. I've only talked to her much.
Emma.
Yeah.
Aye.
The underground, Victorian underground.
I was actually jealous because it was my birthday back in March, and the one thing I wanted for my birthday was a caterpillar cake, and I'm still waiting on the bloody thing. Do you know what I mean?
We put Kirsty under pressure, so it's my birthday tomorrow. She better have a caterpillar cake.
I don't know if you'll get them across there.
45 years young tomorrow.
Oh, not too bad, Dan, not too bad.
Happy
34 in February.
Make you feel young now, don't it?
Feel better.
Aye, there's Gail saying seriously still. I'm still going on about the cake, Gail, because that's 8 months I've been waiting. The thing, I was in isolation at the time as well, and it's only 10 minutes along the road. So I'm going to go on about the cake until I get my caterpillar cake. As when I thought
the cake war's still going on in the UK at the moment.
You what? Sorry?
Stop now, innit?
Yeah, stop now.
It was like every shop had a caterpillar cake version, didn't they?
Yeah.
They're all trying to beat each other, innit? Aldi's, Morrison's, Sainsbury's, Tesco, Asda.
Yeah.
I don't care where it comes from. I just want a caterpillar cake. I don't care which it comes from. And when I saw Emma, sitting with hers, I was like,
Yeah, bless her. She had a bad day that day.
Yeah.
Aye, she did. It wasn't a good one, but we talk about that because that's we talk about season. I don't want to give anything away for anybody who's not watched it yet or no finished watching it. So, Kirsty, how have you found the difference in the paranormal between the UK? I know you've only been over there 2 months. Have you found there's a big bit of difference?
Well, the location where we're living, it's very, like Andy mentioned, here in America, back in UK, a lot of it's like, because in Britain, is so old compared to America. There's a lot of history with hauntings as here because of the Native Americans and cursing grounds. It's like, yeah, very. It is darker because when you look at some of the and research some of the hauntings, like with a week, well, the month we're doing the demonology, I'm getting away with it. I'm thinking now it's very different.
Do you prefer the UK to? I'm going to put you in the spot because there'll be people from America watching. Do you prefer the UK to America, or?
I prefer the American.
Oh, that's nice.
This is where
Turn it off.
I think we're going to learn a lot out in the US that we're going to be able to bring back to the UK. I think. I think what Kirsty's trying to say, and we've done a lot of research. So you look at your major sort of hauntings in the US. You know, your Amityvilles, your Conjurings, etc. They're all linked to darker hauntings.
Mm-hmm.
When you go in and actually research a lot of the stuff, you know, what's it called now? I forgot the name of it now. Me and you were talking about it a while back, Charlie, with all the houses put together. They've got the Octagon House.
The Heritage Square.
Yeah.
Heritage Square.
The Octagon House there, that's supposed to have a dark haunting. The thing about America is a lot of the hauntings seem to be either are or are perceived to be the darker side of hauntings. You don't hear so much of, like, how do I put it? A visit from a family member or something like that. It always appears to be like I say, I'll say it again, the darker side.
Mm-hmm.
Gavin's on now.
Hi,
Gavin. Gavin's coming on to our Demonology Week. He's the demonologist from Ireland.
So, Gavin, if you've got any pointers, mate, just message me privately, yeah? Charlie and Rocks Paranormal.
I just muted them.
He's muted, yeah. Gavin, just so you know, they're talking about in a couple of weeks' time, this are the two teams that are coming on to the big fat demonic quiz of the year. So I think one of them is trying to pay you off.
So just drop us a message, Gavin, mate.
Do I need to mute you again, Charlie? Gavin, come on.
I mean, I love it. I mean, all the paranormal, and it's like the area we're at, the Mojave Desert. You hear a lot about the skinwalkers, and I find that fascinating. Yeah. I do.
This will be fun. That's cheating, Charlie.
What I'm seeing here at the moment, though, Charlie, is Scott has got his team from the US. There's about 6 or 7 people coming on Scott's team. Have you guys?
I'm gonna have to have a word with Bex because Bex is
really good.
Really Get her on.
I think she's busy that night.
She won't be busy for us, mate. Trust me.
Yeah.
I do. Well, that's the thing. I don't trust you.
But this thing, Scott, if we don't get Bex on, we only need us 2. We don't need 7 on our team to try and help you win.
Are you on your couch, Ellie Scott?
Right. Well, the couch will be coming back out again. My chair will be getting put away. The couch will be out. But I'll tell you this, we were talking about it the other night, and something I clicked on. We've got the Haunted Hunts team on the 2nd, and we're doing this battle, shall we say? It's turning into a battle. We're doing the battle on the 3rd. You know what I mean? It's good that it's not the other way around, because I think if, I've got myself mixed up now. If we were doing the quiz on the 2nd and we lost, I think we would get ripped to shreds.
We're not actually doing it. We got to promise each other we can't rip each other to shreds.
Wow.
No, the questions were, Andy were reading them overnight, and I'm like, oh, they're brutal.
Yeah.
I think UK's buried a lot of its dark history has been lost over time. America is such a young country, it's all still fresh. Nadine's right. There is-
What you're saying there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it is because it's so fresh. But I think there is part of it leaning into the, like we say, the Native Americans, the cursed land, and you know, there's been so many battles. You know, I don't think there's a part of America you can go to where there's not been some sort of battle taking place there.
Yeah.
So I think what Nadine says, with it all being fresh, yeah, it is very fresh.
America's huge loads of more activity, more people, more ghosts. One thing I've noticed, now this might sound, you know, I might be shooting myself in the head here, but one thing I've noticed is over here, you know, you get the grey lady, the white lady, you got different kind of colours, you know, for one of a better word. You don't hear so much of that in America, or maybe I've just not read about them.
No, so we've not found much about things like that. Like I say, the places we have done, I've picked up on a couple of sort of like black shadow ladies, but they don't call them like the grey lady or the white lady. You know, there is a couple of hauntings. You put me on a spot now, I can't remember them off the top of my head. You know, where they make reference to sort of the shadow ladies, if you want to call it that.
Or there's the soldiers that pick up on the soldiers,
Soldiers
like the Battle of
massively.
Pittsburgh and
Yeah, soldiers
Gettysburg
massively.
and
Yeah.
What do you think, Charlie and Ross, with the grey lady and the difference?
I don't know. Dan actually had a very good theory, didn't he? Like we captured that apparition in Pendle, in Lowell Head Farm, and he said, even though it seemed like it was like, you know, like a grey mist, would that have not have been in colour, just that it was on a night vision camera? Do you get what I mean? So is it actually, it's coloured, you know, whatever it was wearing, whether it be a coloured red, yellow, blue,
It's
whatever.
just a camera you're
It's just
using.
because it's on a night vision camera, it seems as it is a grey or the white lady. You know,
Yeah.
we don't know unless you got something that's high spectrum to pick up different colours on it.
Yeah.
I don't think you'll ever know.
I think that's
why you don't hear as much in America, because you know you do hear a lot of people seeing a lot of things in America, but when you listen to the stories, they do like as if it's I've seen that person wearing this color, this color, this color, but they seem to have more eyesight in apparitions, not caught on camera. It's more of visually seeing the person.
Yeah.
That capture you got at Pendle was one of these sort of spine tingling moments, because he's left it right to the very end, didn't you? Right at the end of the season, the last bit scene of the last episode.
Yeah.
I don't know how many times I've watched it, because even after you've watched it 10, 20 times,
We
watched it about 20 times.
It's mad because you see like people go on about orbs and like light anomalies and stuff, and just before you see this apparition move, you see a light anomaly just shoot. It shoots up, and then you just see this past walk. It almost does look like almost like a monk or somebody in like a gown, and you see the bottom of the gown as it walks across.
Yeah.
When Dan rang me about that, I thought he was about to cry on the phone.
We were reviewing things, weren't we? While we were there, that was the one thing we have to review.
Because we were coming home that day, so obviously that got done in the edit. But when Dan rang us, he said, "You'll never, you know, think what we've just captured." And I said, "What?" He said, "What are you going to capture an apparition?" He sent it through to me, but he was screaming on the phone. He was like, "Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god!" I thought he was about to cry.
So is there any? I don't know whether I can ask this, but is there any plans to go back there and see? Because obviously, after we watched your season, we went and had a drive around, and there's so much building work going on in that house now.
Yeah,
It's loads.
Yeah,
well, that Lowell Head Farm, funny enough, is up for sale.
Yeah,
It went up for sale
It
about 6
has
months
gone up
after
for
we
sale.
filmed.
After we got it, it went up for sale. I think it's about just over $500,000. I think it's going for now. There is, I hope that, like to think, you know, we
go back
do like a visit back, like a return to Pendle. There could be something in the works coming up soon.
there's an idea for season 5, isn't it? The Haunted Hunts revisited.
I think season 5. I think we have to do something different, and we have to
We're trying to change it every time.
Either go back. We don't want to do the same thing all the time. You know, that's why we try to change different formats of the way we do. So we've all put ideas together. You know, we've also, you know, I think Dan's put a post out to the public, what would they like to see, you know, to give everybody a chance of what they would like. But I think it's got to go back to possibly how we did season 2, season 3, kind of similar. Do you know what I mean? With that format of a story of, you know, this is the things that, you know, like I would like to do a lot of stuff that's like maybe we travel coast to coast, you know, like around Britain, around. And for me, my big love is battles and like the type from the Viking eras and stuff like that. Like there's a castle in Northumbria that I want to go to because there is history behind that, which is in the history books. And that's what I'd like to go because it's that kind of stuff that gets me really.
I think I know which castle you're talking about as well. I'm just trying to rack my brain with it now. Is it
Bebbanburg Castle?
Right. I thought you were talking about the Lindisfarne one, the one out on the little island.
Yeah, no, I have heard about that one. I'd like to do that. There's actually a place up in Scotland that we passed on the way to your nan's, didn't we? Just before we got to Weems Bay. You look out to the right because you're right on the edge around the coast.
It's like the woman in black.
And it's like the woman in black, you know, where the sea's covering around it and it's just sitting there. That would be interesting, I think, to go and have a look at and do.
There's one
but that's something I want to do, you know, something different with different, you know, we could even do haunted hotels, haunted pubs, you know, something along them lines of what different things want us to do with different people and stuff like that. I think we might integrate teams into it.
Yeah, there's a book, I think is it the Wainwright's Walk? And it's the coast to coast. And it makes references to a few locations in there where he experienced.
Well, there's actually your mum's got like a booklet thing she got bought for her birthday, and when you open it up, it gives you a map of Britain and every single haunting or haunted location is on that map of across the Britain. So if even if we just got it over a few years and mark each spot off.
Speaking of maps, there's a good one I saw the other day. And it's all the ley lines of the UK and all the locations that sit on the ley lines. So that would be a good one to tick off.
Yeah.
Obviously, say ley lines produce energy. So,
but I'd also like to do a debunk series. I would love to do a debunk series because, you know, a lot of people say paranormal this, paranormal that. I'd like to go to places that are very hyped up that you haven't had much from, but I would like to do like a 2-day, 3-day stay over so you could actually investigate it proper and keep cameras rolling overnight while you're there to see if you capture any apparitions or if you do get anything while you're sleeping. I'd love to do something like that. And like I said to the team, maybe they all say no. We do a series where we go into a house on our own. That's it. We get dropped off at a location and we just investigate it ourselves.
If I knew where I was going, I was prepared. But you can't just drop me at a house.
You could know where you're going, just you got nobody else there. Just you and the equipment.
If I knew what I was doing.
You wouldn't get through the door.
I wouldn't. Take your pants on.
Are you going to have a domestic?
We never have domestic squad. No. We love each other.
No, I was just going to go a fresh can so I could sit and watch. That was it.
Have you got your whiskey? Because it's about to go down.
This is the best thing about husband and wife paranormal, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is entertainment for people.
Do you know what? A lot of people do sit when we're on public nights, mate. I want to see it. We don't argue, if you know what I mean. But we have little spits and back, like, you know, and you see people on the public nights and they're watching us and go, fucking them two are hilarious. Because all they do is just go off each other. And it is funny. But I think it's also nice when you do have like that husband and wife relationship in a paranormal because it's,
you can share,
you know, when you're younger, you used to go out, but like when you can do something together and actually enjoy it, it's nice.
Exactly.
But I also think it's good having that relationship with you both because you can sit and talk at night time and you know that your wife or your husband's going to be interested in what you're saying.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a big Formula One fan, and sometimes I'll sit with Sarah and I'll start talking, you know, if there's been a Grand Prix on, and I'll start talking about it, and you can see the interest disappearing for Sarah. She's like, you know, and the phone gets lifted up and she starts with that. So it's good.
That does, and then mine will give me you. That does my head in. You know when you watch something, she says, "You want to watch this with me?" And then the phone's up. So.
Aye.
Oh,
Football
do you
now.
know, Joe, so
You do it, and it's what you got your phone on for. We were supposed to be watching this.
I'm actually really glad you're on here at the moment, Charlie. How did your team get on last week?
Where now?
How did Man United get on last week?
Oh, mate, don't start. Don't start.
Night,
Did you
Gabby.
see? I couldn't believe that. You know what? Paul Scholes actually said that the day because they beat Atlanta, didn't they? And he said if they play against Liverpool like that on Sunday, it's going to be 3-4-0, and then they lost. Couldn't believe it. But we beat Spurs.
I had to get that one in. Being a diehard
And then it was Man City, wasn't it? Yeah.
We're always
That
that
own
way.
goal by Eric Bailly.
Are you still in football or not? You can keep.
Lost interest there, Scott.
Aye.
Yeah, Man City. I thought we had that one, but no.
No, football. I've no disrespect to the game, or anybody, but I've never seen the appeal of 22 men with shorts on kicking a ball. You know, a bit of grass, basically. It's just no. I've tried to watch it. I have. You know, I've sat down, but it's just I can't get into it. Formula One, yes, I can. I mean, as Gail.
Formula One is. I just can't get used to.
See, it's not like that.
That's it, isn't it? It's like 2 hours of doing that.
A quick true story, because this is a paranormal show. No, it's no world of sport. Do you know what I mean? One of my ex-brother-in-laws said the exact same thing to me, and he says just wee motors going round and round. And he sat down and watched a full Grand Prix with me one day, and when it finished, he says, "Listen, mate," he says, "I'm sorry." He says, "I didn't realise there was so much went into it as there is between pit stops and working out when they're going to stop and all the tyres and all the rest of it." So it was like, I didn't realise there was so much goes into it. It's not just wee cars going round and round all the time. You know what I mean? Anyway, that's my plug in Formula One.
Sorry to drag it on. I had to ask him.
I know. But I'm the one that's still in the UK, Andy, remember that. Gail, her husband Reese, he wasn't interested at first, and then he came out with us, and now he quite enjoys it. He's quite he's into it really. Just give Scott. That's Gail winding me up because I'm a Ferrari man. I've got the Ferrari tattoos there, and she knows the red.
I told you about the shop on Rodeo Drive, didn't I?
You did, aye. Where's my parcel? Where's my parcel? Laura can see the appeal of 22 men. We'll no vote that one. We'll skip it. My apologies, Nadine. It has kind of turned into world of sport or whatever you want to call it. I mean,
hey, it's about getting to know us, and we love our sport as well as our paranormal. So I can turn a paranormal investigation into a conversation about sport.
It's got to be diverse, isn't it? Just like the paranormal.
Exactly.
It's diverse.
Exactly.
I did say before we came live, it's just a casual kind of laid back chat. So, Charlie and Ross, you were at Tatton last night, the last one of the year.
Yeah.
Go.
Funny enough, it was quite. Sometimes when we do Tatton, it's quite apprehensive because not much happens except for the grey store, which everybody goes for the items and that. But what we did last night is an experiment. We took the item out of the house for the first half of the night to see if we could get some of the residents back. And do you know what we did?
It was amazing.
We had the servant back. We had Thomas Kingman come through and speak. We had a lot of EMF from K2s. We even had DDPs. We had children even interacting. We caught EVP. Beck's asking one of the children, "Do you feel safer now the item's out the house?" And all you hear is, "Yeah." Just dead clear, just caught as well. And then we brought the item back into the house in the second half, and it carried on kicking off. So we had her obviously come through, trying to stop whatever was there talking to us. But then you had we were asking about the fourth, because they say the Grey Star was 4 entities attached. Whether it's true or not, we don't know. It could just be the land, it could be the house manipulating us. We don't.
There's so many different theories.
Yeah, so many different theories. But we had like a proper full-on like growl, like proper, and then we had
Thomas King and Birkin.
Thomas King like Bird because he was a drunk, but we had the Grey Stall come through going, watch them, and then Bex went, what did that say? And he went, watch them, and then we had a man's voice come through going, take them, and then it was like as if they were trying to speak and getting cut off all the time. And then what was the last response? Previous investigators put that we had her come through going, he's coming, yeah, with a Grey Stall saying he's coming. This time she put he's come. So it was like mad. But like going back to like, you know, when we said she comes there and we go in, Dan bent down first, she goes back again. Last time we were there, I got really angry with her and I was goading her. So I sat in one room where we normally keep her, and Dan was at the other end, and we were both going back and forth goading her. And then we both said, nobody wants you. And then Dan went right up to her and went, nobody wants you. She went, for now. Like just so sarcastic. Honestly, it was unbelievable.
See, I was saying to Andy, with Grey Stall, I'd love to see a show with Grace.
Her and Annabelle.
Just see what a demonologist can provoke out of her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the names that you weren't saying, if they can.
Well, yeah, she said something foreign last night, didn't she?
She said we think it's Latin. She come through like Arabiados or something like that. We couldn't quite make it out. She said something else than she before. Dan's going to try and enhance it and see whether we can hear it proper. But she does a few times. She's come out with like Latin names. She's come out with the demon name Mammon, which some people believe demon, some people don't. You know, Mammon's known as a false god. Don't take any notes of this, Scott. All right. But Mammon is said to be what the Syrian believed years ago, that it was it was a false prophet because they believed that wealth and greed and money could solve their problems and not God. So that's what Mammon is. It's wealth and greed. And then there was one that come through, Orobas, which is supposed to be a truth-telling demon. But now, as far as I'm aware, demons don't give their name.
So.
You know what I mean? So they say, unless they're provoked. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know, by somebody that is a priest, a father, or, you know, man of cloth.
We're always careful.
I can say this because it's not a question. From what I believe, and I think Gavin's gone to put his kids to bed now. If you get the name, it's a way of holding power over them.
Yeah, so they'll never reveal that name to you.
Exactly.
So it's like we have
giving you false name because it doesn't want to give you.
Exactly. That's what we said. It's like a manipulation.
She feeds you each investigation you go. It's a little bit like last night. She always does it. The last investigation of the year, the house kicks off because they know we're not going to be there for ages. Yeah. So they like dangle a carrot. They give you so much, and then it's like, no, you got to wait for the rest now.
It is really interesting, but it's what we saw with the Bob the Clown. His name's not Bob, but that's what
the item's
called Bob, the clown boy. And in the beginning of that, we had the same with him as what we're having now with the Grey Stall. So is it in fact the house that's manipulating it, something on the land? You know, like we had a couple of guests last night that were there, and one of them was a medium, said she's a medium, and she come through saying that what was there that we class as one of the four, whether it's true or not, was something that was related to the land, but it was the pet of this thing that was on the land, which was back from the Saxon days, which back then would have been like, you know, like a druid, like a warlock type of, like, you know, stuff.
Yeah.
So it come back to that thing was its pet, but it didn't have a name, and that's why we never get the name, or we don't get a voice from it. Yeah,
we're never going to know 100%.
So it's really interesting. It is fascinating. Like
it's crazy because when I was a 10, 11-year-old lad still living back in the UK, I used to go to Tatton all the time. Tatton Show, Tatton Park.
Mad, isn't it?
It's crazy.
The other place is getting built though now. They're restoring it. You put it on that page and dance.
Wythenshawe Hall.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Some links to Tatton Hall. Is it a link?
Yeah, well, it's the same as, like, you know, Stanley Palace in Chester. Yeah. The Stanley family's linked to Tatton as well. And there's a whole big, like, community thing, yeah. But like we were taking the doll out last night at the beginning of the night to the barn to keep her in the barn, and honest to God, no word of a lie, me and Emma took her across, and it felt like we saw, as I went to get her, I saw this big black 7-foot mass. I mean, it was big, standing where she normally is in her room, just in the doorway where the stairs is. And then as we were taking her out through the main hall and went round, Emma said, "Oh my God, did you see that?" I said, "Why?" She said she just saw a big black shadow across the window, following where the box was going and coming down the stairs.
It's crazy.
So, but we were going across, and it felt like somebody was following us across the field as well.
Well, yeah, the week before, Dan carried her downstairs and she knocked on the box, and Dan nearly dropped her. He put her on the floor and he ran away from her. He was like, "She's just knocked on the box," and she's never done that before either.
No.
So the people that work in Tatton Hall when you guys are not there, have they ever come to you and said, "We've..."
The caretakers have
The
gone.
caretakers, there's one caretaker there, a woman, she will not open up on her own.
She used to.
She used to. She will not open up on her own now. And I think I'm not sure if it was Alan. Was it Alan?
Chris's.
One of them walked into what we call a spinning room. It's like a conduit room. So because of the children, we've got like little puppets and that for them to play with to try and, entice them to come out and play. And he walked in on footage. Now it's on camera. We left the cameras there. He walks in, turns, looks at this doll, and just stood there, then turns and walks back out with not even a recollection of why he done it.
That's
It's
crazy.
mad. They've heard stuff there. One of the guests who come have had a dream for 14 nights straight. The same dream from Tatton, 14 nights straight.
It doesn't
I take
play
it-
in your mind.
I take it you're taking all these little things and noting them
Oh yeah,
down.
we put them away. We put them in a box, put them in out the way.
Yeah.
Same as the items when we finish, they're not left round in the house. They put in storage.
Well, these experiences people are having. Are you seeing any links to any of them or anything?
Well, yeah,
like
because we actually had a woman. If you go on the Haunted Hunts official UK Tatton Hall page, the woman had come last night. She thanked us and she said, "Funny enough, me and my husband last night had the same dream, and she woke up and thought that somebody was standing at the bottom of her bed in a hotel room."
Crazy.
But so many people have linked back to Tatton. Once they've been to Tatton, they link stuff that has happened to Tatton.
It's crazy.
Nadine's asking what the dream was.
The one with Karen, 14 days. Well, we got a Capra skull that was used actually in Scotland as a satanic ritual. And she had this dream where she would carry this skull up the stairs.
She didn't know where to, though.
No, she didn't know where to because it stops. She'd walk up the stairs, go down the corridor, and as she kneeled down, 3 nuns would stand in front of her. And then she would just place this Capra skull, and that would be it. It finished. And every night for 14 nights, she had the same dream.
Wow.
So if you go on the extra,
On
Dan's
Patreon.
put that up on Halloween, I think it's on our Patreon, and you'll see Karen reenact that dream that she has.
I mean, you can't explain something like that. 14 nights, even having the same dream for a week. Well,
Like we've had dreams of Tatton. Another guest who come, Katie, and myself, we had dreams on the same night. She living at Wem at the time, wasn't she?
Yeah.
And obviously we live in Wrexham. And I had this voice when I was dreaming, chanting, like just all I could hear was chanting. And then all of a sudden, it'd get closer and closer, and it'd be a deep man's voice saying, "Charlie, Charlie, Charlie," closer and closer every night. One night I woke up and there was this black mass in the bedroom. And I told Roxanne, and she was quite, maybe, you're sleeping, you put it off, half an
You've
hour.
always got to think of.
And then she woke up one night and said she saw a black
Shadow.
mass by the door. But me and Katie had the same dream, but it was calling Katie's name. And then it was calling my name in my dream. And it's mad. It was always linked back to Tatton every time after Tatton.
Wow.
It's possible that something followed you back.
I don't think nothing follows you from Tatton. I think when you're there, something affects your mindset. So when you go home, you dream about it.
Yeah. There's been, I remember, I shifted up one day. Remember series 1, we'd done Pool Park Asylum.
Mhm.
Now, that was one creepy place, I tell you. When we were leaving there, I said to Emma, "Come on, you got to get out quick." She said, why? I said, there's something following me. And I said, get out. And all I pictured was this woman, old woman, curly hair, in a white gown, right? Like you say, a lady in white. And got in the car, and I looked in the rear mirror, and I saw her sitting in the back of my car. No word of a lie. This is on my kids now, when they're in bed, on their lives, on the Scots, on the car. Couple of months later, we were going to Tatton, and I nearly crashed the car because I seen it in the back of the car again. I had to swerve. Roxy said, "You're doing like?" And I said, "Check in the back of the car, Roxanne." Check it. She said, "Why?" I said, "I swear I've just seen that woman sitting in the back of the car again." You've had, I think, the children follow you home from Stanley Palace.
That was because of the Grey Stall, though.
That was because of the Grey Stall, because we took the Grey Stall there first before we went to Tatton. And
the children were scared of being there, so whatever she done to that house, because we'd been going there for 2-3 years.
Yeah.
The children, because they felt safe, one of them followed us home, and then obviously we had little bits going on in the house. We obviously told us to leave, go
little
home.
bits. I was in work one night, and the kids were sleeping, and she heard someone shout "mummy," so she thought it was one of the girls, so she pushed it off as girls talking in their sleep. The next night, I was in work nights, I was working nights at the time. All the kids were out, they were in her mum's and my mum's. She went to the toilet at 3 o'clock in the morning. All she heard was a little girl going, "Do you want to play a game?"
I didn't know whether to stay in the toilet for the rest of the night or whether to get off the toilet. I did eventually move, and then I thought, right, in the morning, check the full room. I checked the girls' dolls. I checked just in case. And then I thought, no, it's too much.
So we actually left it. We emptied the house. We left the house, left an EVP, and we could hear movement in the girls' bedroom playing in their toys. And then when we went back to we smudged the house from top to bottom, with sage and all that, made sure everything done proper from corner to corner, everything. And we went back to Stanley and we said, "Did somebody leave?" And the little girl come through, said yes for a while.
I mean, you can't, how do you debunk that? You can't explain that,
But that's it. Like the team, we have different opinions. Like we've experienced that, whereas some of the team haven't, and they don't believe that something can follow you home. And it is that saying, you have to see it to believe it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, that's what we believe with Kirsty's sister, that when the Ouija board event went on, we think that she was
present.
She was maybe the most naive in there, and it's followed her home as
something's attached.
That's what we think maybe happened.
But when we spoke it was to Gavin when we did his first Demonology Week, and it was something he mentioned to us with dreams. If something negative's around, they will come when you're most vulnerable, asleep.
Yeah.
And it's like, Grace, I find it fascinating. Whenever I see something and read up on it, it's like, oh my God, look at that, Andy.
Yeah, it's crazy because we always say it would be great to see, so Grace is fastly becoming one of the most famous dolls out there at the moment. Obviously, you've got the other one over here in America, which is the Peggy doll.
Well, this is the thing,
them two together and see how they.
A lot of people say, I have different opinions. We have got an extremely intelligent doll. There's no doubt about that. She's really clever. She knows what's going on. She knows where she is. She knows where she's been. She asked us to take her back to Riffin. We've asked her, "Where are you now?" "I'm at Tatton." So she's clever. She knows what's going on. But yes, she could be possibly deemed as one of the most haunted doll in Britain. But you've also got to take into other people's opinions. Our doll talks, but some other dolls move. Whether that's real or not, you can't say because you're not there, you can't see it. But that's not to say that they don't deem that doll as being the most haunted doll in the UK because theirs moves, ours talk.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Every people have different opinions. It's going to be different, diversion that. But I, respect anybody who says, if they've got evidence, there it is, it's proven. Yeah, that could be the most haunted doll in the world. We don't know. Do you know what I mean? Until you actually do it. Like, I know like over there in Zach Baggins Museum, it's got a lot of items there that me personally sometimes believe, well, is it true or not? Because it's just stories. Yeah. It's stories of what has happened and stuff like that. So can that then build on your mind? Well, yeah, that is definitely haunted. But until I witness it myself, I will never know.
Yeah, that's it. Be interesting to put them together though and see what happens.
Yeah, that Peggy doll, I'd like to look her square in the eyes and see if anything happens to me.
Yeah.
The Dean's asking, is the Grey Straw the one that said something to your investigation and you beat yourself, so now keep her in a case? I've seen that I was at a different team.
So she's kept in her case with Dan's got a protection spell, or a ritual paper that sits on top. It never moves, and she has a cross on top of her box, and that never comes off, and it never gets opened.
For me personally, I don't think the box does nothing. I think she's attached to the item, and it doesn't matter whether she's in the box or not. She affects the area around it.
Yeah,
but we've all got different opinions.
That's it. Their own.
No one's wrong. No one's right.
I don't think she's personally said anything that shit me up. It's been fascinating what she said, isn't it? But there is, I think, for Dan almost, because it kind of tagged Dan, if you know what I mean.
Dan's the one. She was Dan's item, and obviously Dan is the one who's always dealt with her, who's moved her around. So she does focus on him, because there was one time where we were doing a public night and he had a vision. He was like, "Oh, I feel like doing something." And as he knelt down, she turned around and she went, "Pussy." And then people were thinking, well, why? He had a vision of taking her out the box, because she knew he wouldn't do it. She then called him a pussy.
It just shows the intelligence.
It's ridiculous.
It's mad. Like, there was one night we were there with Emma, and Emma was talking to him Bob.
That was Bob, yeah.
Talking to Bob, saying he's a child, and talking to him like a child. You're a clever boy, blah blah blah. And he actually turned around and went, "Fuck you, bitch." And then I went, "That's not a nice way to talk to her, is it?" And he went, "Hold me, bitch." Before he said hold me, me and Dan actually had a vision of taking him out the box and holding him on the bed.
Crazy.
That's the thing. Just to get back to the thing with dreams and what have you, Gail's one of your team, and we took her mum to Caldwell once, and she had this dream. It was a guy called James was in the dream. And it turned out later, after we went back to Caldwell, we had it coming through the app, the name James. We knew nothing, we'd never heard the name before. And it was Gail's mum who told us. And then it was after that we picked it up on the necrophonic, that we picked the name up, James.
Gives you that bit of validation, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You know, that what you're actually dreaming or thinking is not you just, being crazy.
Well, obviously, we've had a bad couple of weeks. This month, with my dad passing and that, and and now I believe in paranormal, but like I said, there's still that thing, and I've never witnessed anything like this. We were in my dad's flat after he passed, and I turned around, didn't I? And we had no notes or anything, because my dad was dealing with his own demons and mental health issues and stuff, and I said, "Dad, if you're okay, mate," I said, "and you're with Nan, can you give me a sign?" Roxanne went, knowing him, he's that sarcastic. It won't be a normal sign that you'd think, Charlie. Next minute, no word of a lie, and I've never witnessed anything like this. A bin bag dropped off the door.
It was just about to be put in the bin.
Just about to be put in a bin, with a note of what he had written before he'd done it.
And we searched the house the day before from top to bottom.
The day before,
so yes, I had searched the place, because obviously it's a crime scene. The police had searched. No one found it.
Nothing, no letters. Me and Sandra give me all the letters from the house. I checked every single one, and his bills, everything, to make sure I had everything in order. The police checked everything for a suicide note, everything, nothing, and that was there. And I believe that was meant for me to find it. And then after that, I stood in the window, and I didn't look out the window. I looked at my reflection, and I thought to myself, "Dad, if you're out there, mate, just let me know you're okay." And this cold, and the house was boiling. We were sweating. This cold breeze that come next to me was unreal, like anything else I'd ever felt. And I said to me and Sandra, Sandra, come here. I said, "Come and have a look, feel it." And so then she put her hand down, her whole hand, goosebumps, hairs was standing up on it. And then that for me was like a validation that my dad was telling me that he's okay. Do you know what I mean? That he's doing that. But then going to dreams, I've been pretty angry the last few weeks, emotions high and shit.
You're going to be.
And when my nan died, Roxanne had a dream about me nan, and she come to her looking young, her hair all done, and she turned around to Roxanne and said, "I'm okay now, cock. I love you. Goodbye." Right? That's what she said to Roxanne. I haven't had a dream of nan, so I was quite not angry or pissed off, but I was kind of like, why hasn't anybody come to see me or nothing like that? And I had a dream the other night. It was supposed to be in Mum's house. We were filling up a swimming pool, right, from the hose pipe in the top window upstairs in the bathroom, as you used to in the old days. Filling up, and as I walked past, There was a bedroom there, no bed, nothing. My nan was sitting in a chair, and I looked at her and I went, "All right, Nan." I said, "Have you spoke to me dad today?" She went, "Yeah, Cop, he's all right," and disappeared.
So that's the thing. Spirit can give you messages and so many.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, when my dad died, my dad had two little chihuahuas, and one of them was loving, the other one was a vicious little git. And I had to be locked in the kitchen every time I went to the house. This time to be locked away. And the night that he died, we'd been in the hospital all day. The doctor says, he's going to be fine, just go home and get some rest. But I went home, he passed away. So I went back up to the hospital and I picked up my stepmom. Also, I went in to see him, and you just knew that he wasn't there.
Yeah.
Body was there. And so I took my stepmom home and never forget it. She says, "You want a cup of coffee before you back?" I said, "Aye." And she went into the kitchen and she forgot to shut the door. And this wee thing came belting out of the kitchen. I was sitting in my dad's chair. And so I saw it running towards me and I was getting ready for a battle, basically. But it jumped up in my lap and started cuddling into me. Totally the opposite to where it used to be, just cooried in, as we say in Scotland, just buried itself in my lap and what have you. And I was my best pal from then on. And then I thought, was this my dad telling us, telling the dog,
Yeah.
Look after him or give her, that's a sign that I'm still here, sort of thing.
Yeah.
And it's funny with dogs. My dad had a dog, Chihuahua Cross Yorkie. Now, Roxanne's always said to me, "Charlie, we're not having any more animals because we've got 10 of them as it is." She went, "When one dies, another one comes in. That's it. That's how it works." So we've ended up with this little beauty here. Right? And this is my dad's dog. And no joke, Roxanne didn't want another dog, and she is all Roxanne. My dad's dog, she loves Roxanne to pieces. She will not move her. She sleeps in bed with her everywhere she goes. If anybody comes near her, she tries to bite them a lot. And you've never bit till you bit.
Yeah.
Oh, cute.
But it's fascinating. See, we would just get briefly back to Tatton Hall movies. Do you think that when you get a location that's got multiple spirits in it, maybe half a dozen, that there's always one spirit that's, one person, whatever, is controlling the rest of them? Have you ever found?
Yeah.
Possibly, yeah, I do. I think the strongest spirit that is going back to before the items were in the house, we had Thomas Kingman, who was the gamekeeper of the land and of the house, but he owned that house at Tatton Hall. He lived there with his wife and his children, obviously, and we had him all the time. He'd come through, you'd smell strong smell of whiskey that he used to drink. He hated women being in that house, so never you call for him and tell him in the main hall, and there's women, K2's everything would go mental in that house. He was really dominant in there. Then we took these items in, and now it seems to be like slowly over time, the residents there have all just quiet, and now this Grace doll is the absolute, you know what I mean? That's it now. But it's been the same in, where was it we went? In Pennyland Hall. We used to get a lot of Eleanor, the lady that was in the dining room. Now she is very clever, and I mean, like nothing. Like I know Grace is intelligent, but nothing like I've ever seen before. She told us everything that was going on in that house, from what had happened through the years. She's seen every single year as it's gone through, what's happened there. She told us when there was changes in the house with the owner, the lot. She told us there was secrets and thing, and we found out there was actually a death on the land that was somebody who possibly would have been having the deeds, but the guy who worked for the family thought he lost the deeds, but he hadn't, so he searches the house for the deeds. The secrets of the supposed to be bodies buried under the tunnels. It's honest to God, she knows everything, and she tells her, and she's like the dominant one. But lately, because we've like kind of revealed that secret now of what's happened, she's gone very quiet.
It's going to sound weird, but I've got this thing, right, where if I'm watching films, I spot like all the little mistakes in films. When you were talking about the gamekeeper then, your camera was going in and out of focus. And it's been perfect the whole conversation.
That's mad, isn't it?
It was just flicking in and out.
He was the dominant one, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Definitely. I think we've got something in this house anyway. It's not negative or nasty. There was a guy called Mr. Chester's, wasn't there?
Yeah, he lived here with his mum.
He lived here. It was only him and his mum who had this house. His mum had it for years, and she died, and he had it, and then
He had a lot of
died.
boils on his face, bless him. He used to get vein cold and all that.
I think Summer seen him, didn't she, in the bedroom? But I used to hear him on the landing, see shadows, you'd see stuff like that. And I think, where was it we went? Accrington Court. And we come back from there, and my daughter said there was something standing behind her mirror that was horrible, right? But then she said she saw another man
with things on his face, and he smiled and waved her and said, "You're okay."
And then this other thing disappeared.
Yeah.
So we believe that Mr. Chester's is here looking after us in this house.
Yeah, we said, "You're okay, you're welcome here, just as long as you keep yourself to yourself, don't scare anybody, and you're okay to get on with your business."
Just, you go about your business, I'll go about mine.
Yeah.
Both values at the end of the day.
Exactly. What were you, Andy and Kirsty? Have you ever
You
done
what?
a case with multiple spirits and felt there was one dominant one?
I wouldn't say one dominant one, but we obviously you've probably seen it in the past. We did Druid's Temple on the Swinton Estate in Yorkshire.
I won't go back.
Now, as we were walking up to that location, Kirsty started feeling
went
sick.
Twice, didn't we?
Yeah, we went twice. She started feeling sick, and our dog. We took our little dog with us as well.
It was fine. It was fine walking up because we thought we were being cheeky. It were our exercise. We're in end of lockdown, and we thought, do you know what? We'll just go for a little drive. It's just me, you, and Pooch. There'll be no one out. It'll be our exercise. So I thought, all right. Took a drive, got out of the car, and we thought, oh, we'll see what it's like around here. Because we were researching around area, and then we spotted that and thought, right, we'll go and see what it's like. Walking up, walking out, we got so far in, and I said, Sandy, I've got an headache. I said, but it could be because it's cold. So we carried on walking. His dog, he were absolutely fine walking round. But then when we were leaving, he wouldn't want to go. He did not want to leave. It were almost like, and he sat down fully on the floor, and I were having to pull him. I'm like, come on, Fudge, won't listen. And then he went between my legs and then plunked himself back down again. And it were almost like there was someone at the bottom and he didn't want to go down. I had to pick him up and walk down, but he didn't want to leave.
But on that site, so the second time we went, at the back of the site is it's like a man-made cave, and it said so. The Druids Temple itself is a folly. It was built to employ people. That's what they say, and it obviously over the years it's been used for rituals and stuff. And the back is a cave. The guy who built it back in the day employed a hermit to live permanently in that cave and never leave. So I was in the back of the cave, and I just had the voice recorder on my phone, and I'm stood in there on my own. I asked two questions. That's all I asked. I asked, I said that you could talk to me if you wanted to, and then I said, okay, what was this place built for? And just after I said that, I got this overwhelming urge that I had to get out of the cave. So I turned the phone off, got out, got back to the car, and I'm listening back to myself. And you hear it. I say, what was this place built for? And then there's a pause. Then you hear a pebble hit the wall or a stone hit the wall and move. And then you just got a guttural growl. And then I turned my phone off. It was like it's weird. So in answer to your question, Scott, no, it wasn't like one thing was overpowering in that place, but there's something that made me want to get out of that place.
But when you were in middle of it, it were like all eyes were on you.
Yeah.
It were like an amphitheater. Like all these eyes were on you. It were crazy.
Yeah.
And then when you started doing more research about it, all the stones, it makes a star. It's absolutely crazy. And then topping it on hill, there's like these other stones, and they're like all linked to make this crazy star. But when we were interviewing people for the pub we did in Ripon, and we started mentioning about Druids Temple, what we did before it, they're like, yeah, we used to go there, We used to do Ouija boards, and then other people
Rituals.
saying they've seen rituals there. Like one person says he saw a pig on a stick, and they never went back. And I said, Sandy, it's when you're there and you're walking around, you're fine. But when you walk into the stones, into the middle of it all, it's very eerie. And I got all hairs at the back of my neck sticking up. And that was the first time I ever felt something like that. And I said, Sandy, I don't want to go back. There's something not.
I think we might. I don't know whether we didn't release anything bad when we were in Turk's Head,
No.
because it was a really, really calm place. But when I mentioned to the owner, I was like, so let's go down into the basement. He said, oh, we've not been in the basement for a long time. Now we open the door. Now there's no entrances down there. There's no windows. There's no links into the road or anything. As soon as we opened the door, you felt like a really cold wind hit you, and the EMF meter just went crazy. It just went absolutely crazy. And then that's when we went down to the basement. At first, the EMF was going crazy. You know, we were getting ridiculous amounts. It was alarming. And I'm looking around in the basement. I'm holding it up to what looked like pipes on the wall, cables on the wall, and that. And it was going off. And I said to the owner, I said, it's got to be coming off the cables and that. And then it stopped dead. And he says to me, he says, well, there's no power in the building. The power was cut off about a year ago. There's no power in the building at all. And it just stopped. I went back up to the cables and that, and there was nothing there. So that's when I put the Paratech on, and I said, you know, can you tell me who's here? What's your name? And straight away it comes through David. Kirsty stayed upstairs because at the time I wasn't technically advanced. I didn't know how to keep the camera on my phone as well as have an app on my phone. So I turned off my camera, and she's recording upstairs, and you can hear me talking. And that's when the owner started getting a little bit worried about whether he was all right to be there. So, yeah, I wouldn't say we've ever been to a place where we've had that one strong, presence, because we got another couple of names when we were at the Turk's Head. What we did get is we got a lot of references to the Freemasons. So yeah. From the pub itself, across the road is the Masonic Lodge. But then we found out that in the side of the pub, there's like a little alleyway. It's where they used to bring the carts and things in. And there's an old room above that you can only access from the corridor. Apparently, they used to allow the Masons to hold their meetings in that room. We just out of the blue, we managed to get hold of an old owner of the pub. She contacted us through Facebook, saw what we were doing. It then turned out that her dad had done something against the Masons and had, I don't know what it is, I've never been able to find reference, but apparently he had some sort of threat and feathers put through his door, which apparently is some sort of Masonic curse, if you want to call it that.
It's a very secretive thing, isn't it, the Freemasons?
Yeah. So that's why we really wanted to go back, because I think we were starting to make little inroads into what was going on there.
Yeah.
Because the reason we went in there originally is from the sort of courthouse in Ripon, there's a road that leads down through the town and goes off up a hill to where what is called Gallows Hill. It's where they used to hang people. The pub we were at was the last public house on that road, and it said that they used to sort of like sentence them to execution, walk them down that road, give them a last drink in that pub, take the shoes off them, and make them walk up barefoot road from the pub up to the gallows. And it said that these two children, street urchins, they called them, are said to have somehow found the way back to that pub, and are said to be seen in that pub, which is why we tried to do it. Now we got two main names through. One was David, and then we got Edith, which is a girl's name, but that's a bit.
But it was the girl Edith upstairs. I think they were using it as a lounge area, weren't they, at the time? That was the one that told us about the Masons, and an altar came through.
But the interesting thing there is we had a Scott moment with that. Nearly 2 hours of footage, disappeared,
Yeah.
completely gone. The file didn't even exist.
Mm.
All gone. The first, as we were walking out of that room, this is the first time when you were talking about the cold, feeling cold. It was warm in there, I had to take my coat off because it was warm in there. It was in the sort of summertime. Walking through a doorway, I said to the owner, I said, "Is one of the windows somewhere open somewhere here?" And he's like, "No, there's no windows open." I said, "Well, can you feel this?" And he came to the doorway and he's like, "Oh my God." You put your hand just into the doorway, up into the top left or right, it was warm. Put your hand down into the middle of the doorway and it was icy cold. And that was the room where we were getting most of the EMF and, sort of responses on the apps. But all that footage disappeared. All of it went. It's crazy.
Yeah, it happened to us twice. It happened to me. It happened to us in the Edinburgh Vaults. With something 5 cameras and not one bit of footage worked out. And it happened to another team who'd done the same vault. Also happened to me one day. I went to Ardrossan Castle, Kilwinning Abbey, and Eglinton Park, and I filmed in the 3 locations. And Kilwinning Abbey never worked out. The other 2, on either side, it did. And so I went back to the Abbey late one night, just myself, done a wee walkabout and filmed it, came back here, and it never worked out again. And I can't explain it. Somebody would say it's a faulty camera. So, well, if it's a faulty camera, that first day I went to 3, why did 2 locations work, but that particular one didn't work?
Yeah.
And same one did.
When we were at Druid's Temple. So we both had our phones with us. So I was recording as we were walking down the path towards the temple. I was taking some sort of cinematic shots, the forest, the path, the temple in front of us. My phone just went off, completely switched off.
He had a full battery and it just
couldn't turn it on,
drained.
couldn't get it to turn on, nothing. Got back to the car, went to plug it in, pressed the button on the side, my phone came straight on. Couldn't get it to turn on when we were there at all. As soon as I got back to the car, straight on. It's bizarre. I love things like that. Trying to explain why things like that happen.
I think that happened to your mum, didn't it? In Saturday, mum's put an EVP recorder on, and you physically can hear it being turned off. Mad.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Charlie Rogers, we spoke about this before because obviously with Caldwell, we had the locked off camera and it turned itself off after 6.5 minutes.
Yeah.
And after that, all the bits and pieces started happening. I think it was the last show we had you on. I was saying you think it's possible that spirit can actually, turn the camera off, turn the phone, whatever, if they don't want to be seen or heard.
Yeah.
And you can't explain it. It's the same idea where, like, say, K2 meter, for example. I know a lot of people put them down. A lot of people say, a signal for a mobile phone can set it off, or somebody turning a light on, whatever. But my argument is, and it's happened to us, especially with Caldwell, if you've got a K2 meter sitting dormant for about half an hour, roughly, and then you say, if you're a wee boy, make it go to yellow, and it goes straight to yellow, and then back down, and then sits dormant again till you ask something else. You can't explain that. You can't say it's a rogue signal.
No, it's intelligence, and it's like intelligent response. It's about asking that right question as well, I think, isn't it?
So I think the best thing that I ever caught, and is when we were again at Turk's Head. I was getting a little bit annoyed because it had gone a bit quiet, and I think I'm a little bit like you in a way, Charlie. That when it's quiet, I kind of get annoyed, and I start, and I said, okay, you hear me on the video, and I say, right, okay then, if there's someone here, make the screen. So I was holding a digital EMF. Flashes red if it picks up and stays green when it's normal. I said, right, if there's somebody here with me, make this screen go green twice. Straight away. Green, red, green.
Wow.
And that was it. And nobody can tell me that was just a fluke that it flashed green twice, because I just asked it to do exactly what it did there. It was crazy. That's probably the best bit of evidence that we've caught, apart from the SLS of the
you like
kid
the
in there.
technology though, don't you? See,
I do. So
I'm
I'm
back
a,
to basics.
I'm a technician by trade, so I like technology. I like messing with gadgets.
Yeah.
Just a big kid. So I think just before we wind it up, folks, we'll find out what both of you are up to. So Charlie and Rocks, what's your next thing on Charlie and Rocks Paranormal? I know you can't talk about haunted hunts.
At the moment, there's nothing really planned, is there? Like, it's just be updating. I've got an EVP to go through where I left in the barn last night for over 2 hours with the doll. So I'm wondering if it's picked up anything on that. We've been looking to see if we can get out, because there's a place I used to work in that is now abandoned.
So you're looking at going there.
Yeah, when I used to work there, I used to see things out the corner of my eyes, doors that swing open back and two. They'd be still, like you say, Scott, for half an hour, whatever. Next thing you see it, just so evidently, it wouldn't be a hard push. And they were heavy doors, so it can't be, like breezes or anything like that. And you see things in the corner of your eyes. You feel airy up in the penthouse suites and stuff like that. So that now is a place where I think I want to go to next and have a look. There's a place in Flint I want to go, possibly before Christmas if I can, or just after that. Back in 2015, there was a murder there. The guy who owned the house, actually, it's like a big, massive manor house. 4 people actually broke into his house, tied him up, robbed him, and beat him to death, which is a shame. But I know a lot of people have been there and they've got quite a lot there. So there's a few things in the pipeline that I want to do. We'll be bringing people updates on like the haunted hunts and stuff like that. And new dates will be released on the haunted hunts in November this month, at the end of this month. So that'll go out on our page and stuff like that. But if like anybody wants to share anything on the page or whatever, feel free to. It's not something that we done just for us. Do you know what I mean? It's we wanted to do it to get other people's experiences, because it is nice to hear what other teams get and what they do, and it's also interesting to find out where they've been and where you can go. Because I know a lot of people don't like to give away their locations, especially like explorers and stuff like that. But that's something I'm interested in doing, is going to do different explores and stuff like that. So for now, I think it's a bit quiet until we get them in the pipeline.
Might be an extra before Christmas.
Yeah, possibly an extra before Christmas.
Over to US.
And of course, we've got used to back and the rest of the team on the 2nd of December. We're going to dive into season 4 project. And I'm always going to say innovation. I don't know why. There are a lot of people call it innovation.
No. Invocation.
Project Invocation. We're going to dive into that and maybe get some juicy gossip. We'll wait and see. So, Andy, Kirsty, what's your plans? Don't say coming back to the...
We've got a couple of things in the pipeline. Obviously, starting on the 29th, over on our Facebook group and page, we've got Demonology Week 2.0. So we've got the team Duo Demonology, which is Carl Johnson, James Anito. They're from the US. They're going to come in on the Tuesday the 30th. We've got you guys for the big fat demonic quiz on the 3rd. On the 4th, we've got Gavin Canavan coming in. You saw Gavin in the comments earlier on.
Yeah.
And then on the Sunday, we've got one of your previous guests, Nick Moulet, coming in to do some demonic storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
So that's our next project. In the pipeline, we're just putting the final sort of touches to a visit to Lake Havasu, where the original London Bridge is situated.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go and have a look at that and see if being British and singing London Bridge is falling down in the middle of the bridge can provoke anything. So that's what we've got going on, and then the usual work on all our sites and pages. We seem to have so many of them these days.
You got anything going on, Scott, except for losing to us on the 3rd?
We're going to keep it next week.
I'm going to keep my words, aren't I now? I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Keep going, sunshine. Keep going.
Roxanne's been studying, so
I wouldn't say studying. I'm reading a couple of bits and bobs.
I'll just let Roxanne answer everything.
What we got coming up? We're kind of quieting down for Christmas. We are doing a thing in December, Paranormal Public, we're calling it, where we're going in the streets of Glasgow and just going to see people talk to us about, you know, if they've ever had anything happen to them, they can't explain or whatever. And because I'm Glaswegian, I think I've got a pretty good chance of getting people to talk to me. So we're doing that. It's going to be a one-off. It's not going to be a big series or nothing. It's just an idea I came up with. Because you never, I don't think you see many things with that, you know, on channels, whatever, just asking the public. No. And then we're starting off, there's Sarah saying he hopes. See, Sarah's got this thing that nobody will want to talk to me, but a Glaswegian on the streets of Glasgow, I'll get somebody to talk to me. Do you know what I mean? Somebody. And then,
in Pendle, we were in Pendle, and Dan said, "Oh, I'd be all right. We could get somebody to talk to us." I went, "Give me 5 minutes, mate." I had a couple of people, you know, got them on the cards. Yeah, go and have a chat. We'll get on camera.
you just ask. You just
come don't ask, you don't get.
Exactly, buddy. And then January, we've got a new show, monthly show starting with Jax Harmon called Chat with Scott and Jax. It's going to be a monthly show. We're going to be doing different topics every month, talking about investigations, and then just a mixture of chat, basically. Yeah. It's just something different. So that's, we're not getting investigations planned between now. We might go out next weekend. We don't know. But we've got a load of lives coming up, you guys included. We've still got a couple of big lives still to come before then it's a Christmas special on the 16th. And I think that's about it for now. I think, I've probably forgotten something. Sarah will probably remind me. You never mentioned that, you know, something like that. She'll tell me as they do. So we're kind of keeping busy, and then we get stuff happening. We get Hingenbrook House on the 29th of January. We'll be the first team to film and investigate it since Paranormal Lockdown, done it back in 2014. They stopped investigations after they were in, but it's Mark Edgerton who works closely with us. He started doing tours there, so we'll get first crack of the whip. So we're going in there on the 29th of January to film and investigate. I think it's 7 till 3. And we'll also be covering the Nuns Bridge, which sits at the back of Hingenbrook. Hingenbrook was built by Oliver Cromwell's grandfather, and it's where Samuel Pepys wrote most of his diaries. And there's a lot of British monarchs stayed there as well. King Charles, the Queen Victoria. You know, there's a lot of monarchs stayed there overnight. So we'll get that in January, which we're really, really looking forward to.
Well, hopefully fingers crossed. Obviously, with a bit of a shit situation at the moment, and with everything that we've had to pay, we might be down in Scotland in April.
Might be.
Might
have to wait and see how things go.
Have to see how things go.
Down in Scotland.
Oh, to Scotland. Sorry. You know what I mean. I always say we're going down there. Going up to Scotland, obviously to do hopefully Edinburgh Vaults. And then we said we'll skip over and come and see you, Scott, and do somewhere with you.
Yeah, no, you're welcome here anytime. We've got
definitely interesting if we could do something where we can link us all in. Maybe a subject
locations.
There's bound to be something that links the locations we're all in. Maybe look into something like that and try and link the 3 locations together. I've always said to Scott it'd be interesting. We were going to try it with the Wargraves just before we moved, where we were connected by a telephone call or a FaceTime. Yeah. From where I was asking questions to where Scott is, and Scott asking questions back to me. It'd be interesting if we could find a location and do something like that.
That'd be interesting. That'd be really interesting.
Yeah.
You see, Andy, now that we know that you're street, you can do StreamYard. We can do StreamYard. That was the problem before. Your signal was rubbish, basically. But now we know StreamYard working fine for both sides. We can we can do that now.
Look into something. Yeah, it'd be really interesting.
Also, Charlie and Rox are welcome to join in as well. Even though
that's fine if you want us, pal.
Even though Andy,
that's if you don't lose on the third, and then thinking never speaking to Charlie and Rox again.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that I can handle defeat.
I'm telling you now, if I lose, I'm going to punch that phone.
If you lose,
if Andy goes, well, Pan all this, he's won this, I'm sure.
Yeah. You're still going to be hearing about this in next August.
Yeah, I know.
Charlie, if you lose, you've got to wear a pink morph suit in the next season of Haunted Hunts.
Don't tempt me, they do not tempt
Hey, I'm
me.
going to Mankini, I'm not bothered.
If Scott loses when he does his questioning out on the streets of Glasgow, he's got to wear a Scouse wig.
No, he's got to do a tour of Glasgow, running around the streets naked.
I done that when I was a teenager. And I got caught by the police, actually. That's the truth. Just before we wind up, we went to, I must have been about 16, 17, we went to one of these student parties in Kilcaddens, beside where the old STV studios used to be. And it's just one of these mad nights, and with a game of dares, as you do. So somebody dared me and this other guy to do a streak. The studios were maybe about 200 yards away from this flat that we were in. So we says, you know what, we were hammered, basically, We says, right, we will. So we kind of disrobed and went down the stairs with towels, he'd a wee dish towel, I had a bath towel, basically. And Andy just clicked on. We went to the door of the flat, we had a look out and there was nobody there, so we dropped the towels and ran. And we got up, we go up to the studios, and we thought we heard somebody, and there was a wee garden area outside the studio, so we jumped in, and we thought, right, the coast is clear, we'll go back. So we ran back to the door of the flat. Just as we get inside, we turned around, there was two coppers standing. And they were that. We were lucky enough that they saw the funny side. The coppers were that, what the beeper used in. I said, well, so we says, we're having a party up the stairs and somebody keeps chapping the door and running away. So we came out to try and catch them. And
we don't close on, mate.
we must say, what kind of party he's having.
Yeah.
So it was the first thing that I didn't know. I say we've just streaked round the STV studios. Do you know what I mean? For a laugh. So somebody keeps chatting that door officer, and we came down to try and catch them. Where's the towel? No, I mean, it's a crazy thing you do, when you're young and drunk on Whitbread. I don't know if you still buy that. Do you remember Whitbread Pale Ale? You remember it, Andy?
Will I?
No, Scott, he skinny dip before in Scotland.
No, I
at a party. I was in Stonehaven. Someone dared me at a party to run down to Stonehaven Pier Harbour and jump off the pier into the North Sea.
Have you done it?
Yeah.
That's in North Sea.
Yeah. Just jumped off the pier naked into the water.
You get kind of like Norway and Russia and everything. The Arctic just up the road for you.
Yeah.
And you're jumping into the water.
It's the coldest thing I've ever experienced in my life.
Well, if you consider the oil rigs are maybe 100 miles offshore and they need to wear survival suits.
Yeah.
And you're jumping in butt naked.
Yeah. It was the first night I'd ever drank Captain Morgan's, though. So it didn't
Was it the last night you drank it?
Yeah.
Aye.
You were a marine.
No.
I thought, but that's my night's sleep round, the image of Andy skinny dipping in the North Sea. It's not something you want to hear on a Saturday night.
Hey.
No,
Well, the one Roxanne did, I wasn't drunk. I didn't even actually have a drink. We were living at my mum's with me. And she bought some new underwear.
So he thought he'd put it on and go round to his
She
auntie.
said, Charlie, run round the day to run round to your Auntie Carol's and that. So she lived round. I put it all on, bra, the knickers, you could see through everything. I ran round to my auntie's, ran in the front room, started jumping around. Then she went, Charlie, you do realise I can see everything.
so I'm not the only weirdo then on the panel.
That's it. I'm doing the connection now.
That's it. We're all buggered. All the channels are all buggered now. Know what I mean? You're going to have the FBI at your door tomorrow morning, Andy. I'll keep a hold of you just in a wee second or two after we come up, and we'll wind it up there, folks. So thank you very much to Charlie and Roxy and Andy and Kirsty for finding on.
Thanks to everybody that watched as well.
Yeah, thank you in the chat for your comments and questions. We're back on Monday night with Kelly Innes. For the first time I've met Kelly. She's an interesting lady. She's a paranormal investigator. So we're back then. So again, take care everybody and thanks for coming in, and we'll see you all soon.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.